Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of This Is Our Life. My left upper chest, lower shoulder, it just won't. It's not an intense pain. It's won't.
Aspirin help, maybe?
That's a good idea. That might work. It won't stop hurting. But anyway, that's not what this video is supposed to be about. But
it does hurt.
Yeah, it does hurt. So I want to talk about Darlie Routier. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly or not. If not, I apologize. See, I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before last. I sent her a Christmas card, and she sent one back. To be honest with you, the way Texas kills people, I'm surprised she's still alive. But I wanted to point some things out about her case. They found one or more fingerprints that don't belong to her. That, from my understanding, is that they don't know who the fingerprints belong to. They found hair that does not belong to her. They have also found blood evidence, and the DNA from the blood is not hers. They don't know who it belongs to. Is she guilty? Is she innocent? To be honest with you, I'm rather open on that issue, but from what I've seen and heard, I would argue there is a strong possibility that she's innocent. I mean, at the least, they need to find out whose DNA from the blood, whose hair, whose fingerprints they found in that house. And if you look at pictures of her, I don't see how she could have done that to herself. I mean, she was hurt bad, real bad. And I'm not going to get too much into this next issue. You can go into one of my previous videos. Actually, I think I've made a video about it 2 or 3 times. Her trial was moved from the Dallas area down to Kerrville, and I happened to live in her county at the time of the trial. I mean, look, I don't care if you move a trial like that or any other trial to Kerr County today, or if you moved it, however many decades ago that was. I seriously doubt you could get a fair and impartial trial in Kerr County. It was a murder trial. It was a trial over a woman accused of murdering her children. In Kerr County, you're going to be convicted even if you're innocent, unless you're a rich white rancher. Then they'll find an illegal alien that you've hired, or someone else has hired. They won't charge you for hiring the illegal alien, but they'll accuse the illegal alien, even if there's proof that the illegal alien was nowhere in the area of the crime, that is, and they'll charge that person, send that person to prison. It happens. They used to fly drugs in from Mexico into the Kerrville airport. The police knew it. The sheriff's department knew it. They didn't do anything to stop it. They were in on it. And then you have the situation with the Kerrville City Council. Texas has an Open Meetings Act, or Open Meetings Law, but the Kerrville City Council violates it left and right. Yeah, no matter how many complaints or charges, or not charges, but complaints are made concerning that, nothing's ever been done. At least it was never done when I lived in Texas. I lived in Texas a long time, 40 years. It was like living there for 1,000,000 years. It was too long. But
the way Texas operates, I'm surprised they get away with it.
So, you know, there are, and then you have to consider the number of people Texas has executed that have turned out to be innocent. In some cases, it was known they were innocent beforehand. I'm not saying everybody on Texas death row is innocent. I'm saying there are far too many people, one, that have been murdered by the state of Texas who were innocent, and two, that
Scapegoated.
that were scapegoated. And people need to take that into account when looking at Texas death row inmates. How many Texas death row inmates have been released because they were sent there and they weren't guilty? And how many millions of dollars are the Texas taxpayers having to pay out to these people? The politicians, the police, the district attorneys, the judges, they're not the ones having to pay this money out to these people.
It's the taxpayers.
Yeah, it's the taxpayers paying this money out to these people, millions of dollars. You send somebody to death row and they're on death row for 20 years and then it turns out they were innocent the whole time. And sometimes it turns out that the police knew exactly who the guilty party was. You know, there was a case in North Carolina where there were witnesses. I mean, these people went into a business and just started shooting people and killed them. And some of the people who survived, they said this individual was not there. There's evidence of proof that the person was somewhere else when the crime took place. But guess what? He's in prison. He's in prison, yet the victims say he had nothing to do with it. Other people who have nothing to do with the case said he wasn't there. The police have evidence that, if not proof, that he wasn't even there. Yet he's in prison for a crime he had nothing to do with. And Texas, I'm like... So,
Cops believe what the cops want to believe.
No.
So, bullshit. I haven't dealt with the assholes like that.
So, with Darlie Routier, you have fingerprints, hair, and blood that don't belong to her. Supposedly they don't know who they belong to, but we know they don't belong to Darlie. So who do they belong to? And again, this woman was almost killed in the attack. She's lucky she survived. Yet she's the one on death row. Could her husband have been the one who did it? I don't know. Could her husband have hired somebody to do it? Could there have been a disagreement, an argument with somebody, and they came in? Could it have just been a stranger? It's not like there aren't serial killers and who are just strangers. They just find an open window or an open door and go in, and not like that hasn't happened. I mean, my gosh, Texas knows about those kinds of serial killers. I mean, but and that guy who this video I watched, you're not a man, you're a little boy. You're saying people are slandering the district attorney and the law enforcement. Look, they've committed crimes. That's not slandering them, that's telling the truth. And you have a pro-skinhead video on your channel? Tells me a lot about you. You belong in Kerrville. That's where you should be living.
He belongs in prison.